the host of the NBA on TNT Tuesdays, and he's one of the hosts on NBA Bet Streams presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Are you a gambler?
That answers that.
Dan, I want you to know that you are currently talking to the #1 quarters bettor in the world. I bet NBA quarters. Like last night, the fact that your Miami Heat knocked off Memphis in the first quarter, I don't care that you lost the game. You stopped the greatest last night. The best first quarter team in the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies, went down, and the worst first quarter team in the NBA, the Indiana Pacers, won. That's how sick I am. If you want to know other quarters, we can get into that too. But yeah, I do like to put in a bet on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Mike Ryan just said that Memphis first quarters has been a thing for more than 3 years now.
The Degens now.
Oh, man. It's, last year your Miami Heat were the best third quarter team in the NBA, and the Boston Celtics were the best second quarter team in the NBA. We all know about the Warriors third quarter, but yes, that is – I enjoy I call them Lefkoe sprinkles, because as I'm watching a game, I'm like, this is out of hand. Sprinkle.
It's too much, though, Adam. That is too much. I would say that when you're doing it with that level of need for action, because a game isn't enough. You have to have props. You have to have quarters. You have to have a lot of money spread around. I don't know what too much is, but it sounds to me like too much.
I actually, and I don't want to get it, if you want to get into betting, I would just say that what I don't understand about these sports books is when a team goes up 5-0 to start a game, why does the line move? We are all rational human beings. If the line before the game is, let's say, Heat by 5, after the other team goes up 5-0, why would it then go down to 2 or 3? And the reason that I bet quarters is it happens even more drastically. So let's say the Heat were favored to win the first quarter by 1 and the Grizzlies go up 6-0. Well, now suddenly the Heat are expected to lose the first quarter by 8. I'm just trying, it's not the sports bookies or whatever they're called, the bookmakers, the computers, I don't think understand what's going on. And as someone that cares about humankind, I'm trying to stop Judgment Day and take down the computers.
Let's talk some basketball here, because it seems like every conversation for a couple of years has been a Nets conversation or a Lakers conversation. When you get excited about talking about the good things happening in basketball, where do you head?
Last night was a perfect example of the Oklahoma City Thunder and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They are a team that everyone counts out, and that every time I watch them, they can be down 10 points and they roar back. You expect them to be young and inexperienced, but they never falter in the clutch. The Thunder have been a great team to watch. The thing that I do not enjoy watching is the Philadelphia 76ers. Imagine you have a player like James Harden that is gone for weeks and he comes back and he shoots 4 for 18 and he plays 38 minutes. Like what is Doc Rivers even doing? Other positives that get me excited, the Dallas Mavericks and Luka trying to take 1-on-5 at any given time. And if I was going to give you one more, the Utah Jazz. I have a Utah Jazz season over that I bet on DraftKings Sportsbook that I look at and smile at all the time.
What was the number there?
Like 18 or something?
23.5.
Oh my God, 14 already.
Yeah, they have 14. That one I mainly bet so that I could prove to Dwayne Wade that I'm a loyal friend. And I was like, oh yeah, man, I bet you're over. But now I'm like, man, I am so smart.
Yeah. Well done though, Lefkoe.
Are you bummed that, and I don't, you love Crawford as well, but are you bummed that Dwayne Wade is no longer going to be doing that?
The thing about Dwayne is he always cared more about being a great person. And so when you're the host, you kind of have to sit by yourself sometimes and just watch the other games and do a lot of note prep. And the amount of times that he would just come and sit there in between the third and fourth quarter, and I would ask him questions about fatherhood. I'd ask him questions about being a husband, like that real human connection beyond like, wow, can you believe they're down 20? Those are the moments that I'll miss. And Jamal's my guy. We text all the time and I love him too. But like Wade, we just would look at each other and he would remind me, he's like, look where you are. So like, as a human, I will miss Dwayne. We still text a lot, but it was those moments where it felt like we were the only ones there. And I can be like, hey, I'm getting married. You know, what am I about to experience? Those are the moments that I'll miss with him the most.
The Boston Celtics seem to you every bit as overwhelming as the numbers suggest?
They don't have Horford last night. They don't have Marcus Smart. They go into Toronto, and Toronto made it close at the end, and it wasn't even a game. Boston right now has the number one half-court efficiency, I think, of the last decade. They are awful in transition. They are literally just hitting every jump shot. I worry that it's hard to sustain this for the long time, for like the rest of the regular season, but they are playing perfect basketball for playoffs. And I look at Boston, I think it is them. I believe it is a gap. And then I think it's everybody else. I think Milwaukee is probably the second closest. But I think what Boston has done with their coaching issues, with everything that happened with Ime Udoka, I thought they were going to fall off. They lose Robert Williams. Boston right now, night in, night out, best team in the NBA, and it's not even close.
Lefkoe, are you buying the Kings?
I'm buying the beam. I am buying the Kings. I think defensively they are going to get better because that's what Mike Brown does. And I think offensively they have found a really nice balance where it's not just De'Aaron Fox save us. I love the way that they cut. Great third quarter team. Great third quarter team, Dan. You want to bet the Kings, you go third quarter away. When they're away, not at home.
On the road.
When they're away.
Right.
On the way.
Yep.
Third quarter Kings. But I'm just happy that,
write that down. Hold on.
We're not just talking about Shaq's quote about the Kings and the Queens from 20, 30 years ago. There seems to be positivity. This beam represents hope for a fan base. No, I'm buying them for real. I think they could be a play-in team.
You have perspective. Again, he's the host of the NBA on TNT Tuesdays and one of the hosts on NBA Bet Streams presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. You mentioned Robert Williams, and I ask you, when doing the calculations on we have to win, did the Boston Celtics damage Robert Williams?
Oh, with the playoffs last year?
Yeah, making him play or him playing through all of that. And did they damage his career?
Wow. This is where I turn into like a Greg Cody, where I'm like, when you got an opportunity for a championship, you got to risk all your limbs to get it. They were up 1-0 on the Warriors.
That did sound
they were up 2-1 on the Warriors in the finals. But listen, that's why you get paid the money, listen, when I was writing for the Miami Herald back in 1945, there was a player named Gino Torretta.
Yeah.
Okay. Dan will know that answer when he comes back, because all signs right now, they're talking about him at practice looking really good. So the fact that they've been able to give him a little bit more time in the beginning of this season, we'll see. I hope not, because what he brings to that team and his potential as a player is so high.
I just didn't understand why he was out there in that condition. I didn't think that him in that state was even the same player.
Isn't it weird that we can celebrate when a player toughs it out, but we can't ask for them to tough it out? We can't say he should play, but when he does, we can celebrate it. So we all know that we're biting our lip and just being like, man, I really hope you play through it. Like that's the dilemma with Anthony Davis. When he's playing at this MVP level, we're so happy. And when he gets hurt, we've reached a point, and I agree with it, that we can't bemoan the fact that he's hurt. So injuries are such a weird place that we're not supposed to talk about, but when you tough it out, we celebrate it, but you can't celebrate it too much because then you're glorifying it. So I'm always caught in that weird middle ground.
Are you surprised the Lakers have seemed to kind of figure this out with Darvin Ham, Westbrook off the bench, Anthony Davis at the 5, LeBron's healthy, playing well? I know they're an injury away, but they're playing really good, Lefkoe.
I got called a hater in my group chat because I just brought up the teams that the Lakers have beaten on this run.
Well, here we go.
And so if I can find it, and I said, listen, I'm so happy that Russell Westbrook has accepted this role off the bench. I'm so excited that Anthony Davis is playing at this level. They beat the Nets when they were on the second game of a back-to-back. They beat the Pistons, the Spurs. They beat the Spurs again. They beat the Blazers without Damian Lillard. They beat the Bucks when they were just into their first game back with Middleton. They beat the Wizards, and Beal got hurt in the first quarter, and they lost to Phoenix, and they lost in that buzzer beater to the Pacers. So they went 7-2 in that stretch. But again, I want the Lakers to be good because I'm sure that the Lakers will be on TNT Tuesday almost every show this year. And there is nothing worse than getting to the studio and going, oh, we have a team that has no chance of making the playoffs. So if LeBron and AD got it going, that's great. I'm not ready to buy in. We were crowning DeRozan as MVP midway through last year.
Right.
Players have
Good
these
point.
stretches sometimes, and we need to celebrate it when it's happening, but I don't think we should bet futures on it on DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't do that. Anthony Davis is likely not going to win MVP. Okay.
Thank you for being on with us, Lefkoe, and I hope you still feel the freedom. I hope you feel you're still soaring through the sky because you've rid yourself of this internet cruelty. Congratulations.
What I feel right now, Dan, is raindrops on my face as I reach to the heavens like Andy Dufresne, crawling through miles and miles of feces. And what you have given me are my wings back. Thank you.
It will be short-lived, I promise.
See you later.
He's the worst. Okay, love y'all.
See you later, Lefkoe.
See you, Lefkoe.